Hey everybody, welcome to the next episode of ERT. My name is Derrick.
And I'm Kara.
So we had so much fun doing the Kennywood coaster ranking that we did last time, or the Kennywood roller coaster showdown, I think is what we called.
Episodes ago.
Yeah, and it was really fun. So I thought, why not we do the same thing with Cedar Point? Because I can already tell you, me and her have a very different set of top 10, top whatever at Cedar Point. I have my favorites. She has her favorites.
Yes, we have
some might
different
match. Some will be opposite ends of the spectrum. Or we'll find out, I guess. So
we don't know. We haven't discussed our lists, so who knows?
Yeah, we thought this is fun to do because honestly, there really isn't any huge news happening in the theme park industry. Obviously, there's Gold Rusher just opened, and then we'll be having Rapterra and Flash opening here in the next couple weeks, which we'll be riding the following week. Really excited. But let's talk Cedar Point. So instead of hashing down every single one, we're going to kind of do what I'm calling like the power ranking from 17 all the way down through number 8. And then we'll kind of more hash out the top 7, I think is how we're going to do this.
Okay.
So we are including Top Thrill 2 because as far as I'm concerned, it's already opened before, and it, all intents and purposes, it should be opening this year.
And we wrote it.
Yeah.
So there's no reason not to
I know it's
include
listed as SB&O on RCDB, but we're going to include it. So 17 roller coasters. I'm not counting the
Siren's Curse.
Yes, not that one, but I mean the Zamperla. What do you call it? The Zamperla swing. It's like Snoopy's something or whatever.
Wait, what?
It's
the surf thing?
Yeah, the surf. They call those like a surf coaster. I know the park likes to claim it as a coaster. I don't, but
it is not listed as a roller coaster on RCDB, so it is not a roller coaster.
No. All right, so let's get to it. So we're going to just kind of power right through these first ones. So number 17, Wilderness Run.
Corkscrew.
Okay. Number 16, Corkscrew.
Blue Streak.
Really? Okay. Number 15, Woodstock Express.
Wilderness Run.
Okay. Number 14, Cedar Creek Mine Ride.
Oh, me too. Same.
Okay, perfect. Number 13, Blue Streak.
Woodstock Express.
Okay. Number 12, Iron Dragon.
I have Gemini.
Okay. Number 11, Gemini.
And I have Iron Dragon.
Okay. Number 10, Wild Mouse.
I have Rougarou.
Okay. Number 9, Rougarou.
Number 9 is Magnum XL 200.
Okay, here we go. And number 8, this is our last of this power run. I have Magnum XL 200.
And I have Raptor.
Okay, wow. So, yeah, I know some of you might be shocked that we have Magnum so low. Magnum has been a very hit or miss for me. In 2021, Braille and it was one of her first hypercoasters she ever rode. Mm-hmm. She loved it. I had a fantastic time riding it. I thought it was a great roller coaster. And then this last year, it's like I said, it's always hit or miss. It's all dependent on what seat you get. It wasn't as the best. Still great airtime that ride has, but it can be rather painful.
Yes, very painful. That is literally all that I can think about when I think of Magnum XL 200 is it's painful. And I mean, okay, you have to be an active rider while riding it. So maybe if I rode it a few times, got a really good feel for the ride, I sat in the magic seats, and then I braced, maybe my opinion wouldn't be so low, but it just sticks in my head that that's a painful ride, and I'm probably going to skip it.
It has its fans. All right, so number 7, what do you have for number 7?
Number 7, I have the Wild Mouse.
Wild Mouse. Okay, and I have Raptor. So you really have Wild Mouse up there pretty high.
I really liked the Wild Mouse.
Okay.
I thought it was fun. I thought it was smooth. The spinning was a lot of fun.
I guess I could agree with that. I mean, it is a fun for Wild Mouse roller coasters, the spinning Wild Mouse roller coasters. It's probably one of the best out there. I mean, just for the concept of what it is. It's very basic, but it's fun. It's smooth. I like how the ending is not like your traditional spinning Wild Mouse. A lot of those are all copy and paste, and this one has its own little variation. So I can appreciate that. It's a very short ride. Capacity wise, it's not the best, but
No, usually
also
it's a pretty long line.
they do very well. At least I think it's every 20 seconds or so you'll see a train pulling right out of the station. So, but each one only holds a maximum of 4 people.
But I do like how it sits on the boardwalk and it sits right on the beach.
Yes,
It feels like it fits in that area of the park so well.
it feels like that section of the park is almost like its own park. I don't know how to explain like that. Boardwalk feels almost adjacent from the rest of Cedar Point.
I could see.
And I think that ride kind of fills it in. But that's your number 7.
That's my number 7.
My number 7 is Raptor. It is a good inverted roller coaster. And I guess I'm going to bet the reason why you don't have it as high is I can't even think of the last time that you've been on Raptor.
Time since I've ridden
Every
it.
time we've gone that I've ridden, you did not ride. You were like, nah. So
I just never feel like waiting.
That ride can really get a line sometimes, and I usually kind of catch it at the right time. And if I see that line short, I'll walk right onto it.
Well, right, you'll walk right onto it, but then I would have to be the parent swap, which is just this another round of waiting. And usually by that point in the day, our kids are tired and a little bit on the grumpy side.
Yeah.
So it's just better for me to take them and either put them on some like Kiddieland rides, get them some ice cream, do something with them instead of waiting around for mom and dad to ride another roller coaster.
Yeah, I would, for Raptor, it's not one of the best inverted coasters out there, but it's still smooth. It has pretty forceful ride. I mean, especially there at the end, that helix is pretty intense. But yeah, I know, I enjoy it. I think it's...
Maybe next time, instead of you jumping in the line and you riding,
hey, if you want to...
me to jump in the line.
She says that, but every time I ask her, she never wants to ride it. So, but anyways, that's number 7. Number 6. So you did number 7. I'll go with first number 6.
Yes.
I have Gatekeeper.
Okay, and I have Valraven.
Valraven. Okay, so Gatekeeper, I think, is, again, we're at the top 7, and I feel, honestly, a lot of these roller coasters, they're all in my, at least you'd say, like, B ranking, at least. They're decent rides. But Gatekeeper, excellent roller coaster up at the front of the park, really makes a statement as you're walking in. You have the roller coaster flipping over top of you. It really gets you pumped to go into that park. The ride is a little bit hit or miss. Sometimes it can be a little bit more rattly than other times, which I haven't had that problem lately, but in the past I could get a headache on that ride. Lately, it's actually been pretty decent. So yeah, that's why I have a Gatekeeper.
Gatekeeper. I have Valraven. I like Valraven. You haven't listed Valraven yet, right?
I have not.
So Valraven is still coming. Obviously, my listing of Gatekeeper is still to come, because I like Gatekeeper. I like Valraven, but it's kind of small. It's not very big, so that's why I put it at number 6.
Which I still think is a respectable
fair,
place
right?
for it.
It's a good place to be. It's a great ride. It's super fun. I love the dive and how it interacts with the midway and how it fills in that spot in the park. I'm curious to see what it looks like now that Siren's Curse will be in that same
with both
section.
of those roller coasters right there. Yeah.
They won't interact with each other at all, right?
As far as I'm aware, no, because Valraven is more or less facing the opposite direction.
Right.
Even though they're like back to back.
It'll change like the feel of the ride when you're walking down the midway. So I'm curious to see how that goes.
So so that was 6. What was your number 5?
My phone. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
Number 5 is Maverick.
Really? Okay. I'm surprised you have that so low. My number 5 is Valraven. So
interesting. Okay.
I put it, I guess you could say somewhat somewhere in that 5-6 slot. It's been slowly creeping up on my list. I used to have it ranked a little bit lower, but especially this last year, I thought my ride was one of the best I had on it. Excellent airtime on that first drop. I think it was what I learned is I enjoy riding either in it's more or less the very back row is where you get some good airtime. Up front is fun as well, because that's, I believe, where we rode with Braylon. Mm-hmm. But riding in the back row, you get some good airtime. And I think that's actually where that roller coaster is best. But solid coaster, the view at the top is amazing.
Yeah.
It used to have that kind of like that nasty rattle, which is where I was kind of like, I don't know. But it's been doing better and I enjoy it. So that's my number 5. You have Maverick. It's one of my favorites. So.
I know, and I knew that putting
So why
Maverick
is it
at number 5?
Yeah, why is Maverick at 5? Tell me what holds it from being higher? Like what's about
Just
this coaster?
because I like the other 4 coasters better.
Okay. Is there anything?
You see, like, okay, I like Maverick. If you put Maverick in a different park with a different lineup of roller coasters, it would definitely rank higher.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Well, I can agree with that. I mean, like I said, the competition from here on out definitely gets very intense.
Well, right,
Cedar
and so
Point.
that's what makes it coming up with a list of like the roller coasters at Cedar Point, like the lower numbers, like number 17 through like number 10. It's so easy to fill those blanks in, right?
Yeah, some of them are like you could kind of bounce them around here and there, but
I feel like this top 5 is so hard because it's like, well, okay, like some of them are slightly interchangeable, but I mean, I just have my personal preference. Maverick will beat the crap out of you. If it's a hot day, if you're slightly dehydrated, if you haven't had anything to eat, you're gonna get a headache once you get off of that ride.
never had that problem. I always enjoy that roller coaster.
I know,
but
he's a
when I
Maverick
get
fan.
to it, I'll talk about it. So that was number 5. Number 4, I have Millennium Force.
And I have Gatekeeper.
Okay, so Millennium Force has been one of the headlining attractions at this park for over 20 years. If you can believe it, that roller coaster is entering its 25th anniversary. So we've had a Giga that long, which is kind of crazy. But it continues to hold up. It's a great ride. Obviously, it's in the top 4 that I've listed. Overall, it's just a fantastic roller coaster. I somewhat consider it an overrated roller coaster. A lot of people are really kind of obsessed with it. Not to say, I guess it really comes down to each your own, is really what it comes down. Because as much as we say a roller coaster is overrated or underrated, really doesn't exist because it's all personal preference. But nonetheless, it's a fun ride.
It's an excellent ride.
High speed coaster. Maybe it doesn't have the airtime that I prefer, but I really like how it travels out into that island. Yeah, that's really all I have to say about it.
Okay, so that's number 4. Okay,
Yep.
so my number 4 is Gatekeeper.
Yes.
I love Gatekeeper.
Yeah, which you have it, 2 slots higher than I do.
Yeah. So I have a little bit of probably like an obsession with Gatekeeper. I love Gatekeeper. I feel like it's so smooth. You were talking about a rattle. I don't remember ever really feeling a rattle. Maybe a little bit. I feel like the sound. Okay, when you ride Gatekeeper, there's this like clicking sound.
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
And I feel like when you hear that sound, you think it's rattling.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Like the audible.
Well, because it kind of
sound.
is. That's part of that sound it's coming from is the.
But if you could like not hear it, if you were deaf, I don't think you would feel it. That's my theory.
Okay. There is a rattle, but nonetheless.
Maybe tiny.
What else is it about Gatekeeper that you really
love
like?
that. I think it is the best. What do they call it? A front gate coaster? What do they call that?
Yeah.
I'm like losing.
That sounds good enough. Front gate coaster, like gate coaster.
Like the entrance.
Yeah.
Like the fact that it does the dive over the entrance and then swings and comes back around. There's nothing that is quite so amazing about entering an amusement park than seeing a roller coaster going over the entrance. Like, that's just incredible. Other than maybe Fury 325.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Fury 325 has the best entrance for any roller coaster centered theme park.
Right. So yes, Fury can win that one. But I love
Gatekeeper is a solid number 2.
Wait, what?
No, I'm saying when comparing it to roller coasters making a statement at the entrance.
Well, because I'm like, it's not my number 2, it's number 4.
No.
But I love how it interacts with the keyholes, right? That's what they're called?
Yes, yep.
How you dive into them and you dive around them. I love the view of the lake when you're going up.
In the parking lot.
And hey, it's cool. You see how many people in the park. It has an amazing view of the lake, though. Look.
Yeah, so if you're sitting on the left, you'll see the lake.
Yes,
so
it's beautiful.
That's number 4. What is your number
Gatekeeper.
3?
Number 3 is Millennium Force.
Okay. Which I had at number 4, so you have it at number 3. My number 3 is Maverick. So you had Maverick all the way down, I think it was at number 7?
No, I have Maverick at number 5.
Oh, number 5. I don't know why I had it
Not that
lower.
far. I know
So,
you feel like it's so
yeah.
far. It's really not.
So Maverick, it has slipped a little, and when we get there, I'll explain why. But Maverick continues to be a solid roller coaster that impresses me. Sometimes I go to the park, and if it's running really good, I almost feel like it's better than maybe the other two that I'll get to next, which we all kind of know what the two that are left. But Maverick, I think, is a fun, solid roller coaster, good launches. It has some strong positive G-forces, ejector air time. It's just a good variety of a roller coaster. That's why I think it's one of their best for sure.
Derrick has always loved Maverick.
Yes.
Forever and always.
I have. I mean, I just like the name. I've always been fascinated with the roller coaster because to me, I guess it's like the epitome of what a roller coaster is supposed to do. It's not setting out to break multiple records. It's just there to entertain you. And that's exactly what it does.
It also is a little rough.
Sure.
A little bit.
I don't think it is. But
I feel like if you don't brace, man, you're going to get beat up by that ride.
So you obviously prefer Millennium Force.
Okay,
higher.
so yes. So if it came down to it and there was zero line for Millennium Force or Maverick, I would probably go get on Millennium Force.
Which I would go get on Maverick. And I mean, okay, since you bring the line into it as well, because that is the one thing I feel like Maverick can have a challenging queue, which I'm really excited now that we have Top Thrill 2 back in play. And also Siren's Curse, I think that's actually going to benefit the line in the back over by Maverick. We'll see. But Millennium Force, that ride does seem to do better with crowds and fully through. But
you think so? Even though I would say that
you've had challenging issues with Millennium Force, but Millennium Force
challenging issues getting on
clearly
Maverick too.
Can handle more crowds because each train holds, I believe, 36 passengers. When it's operating in prime, they'll have 3 trains on the track, and if they're doing it correctly, they'll be sending the trains out.
Well, right, but Maverick, they load 2 trains at a time.
Yeah, and those trains only hold 12 people.
This is true.
So still 2 trains by itself doesn't equal the 1 train Millennium Force has.
This is true. So I love Millennium Force because it's the superior roller coaster.
The superior coaster. Okay.
No, I love Millennium Force. Millennium Force is so much fun. And I think I have a sweet spot for Millennium Force because that was one of the first big roller coasters that Braylon got to ride.
Yes, she rode that when she was 6.
And she loved that ride. She really loved it.
Even though after she rode it the first time, she was a little intimidated to ride it again, but she continued to grow this fondness over Millennium Force.
And I think that's what makes Millennium Force so amazing is it's not going to beat the crap out of you. It's just this smooth, fast ride, right?
Exactly, yeah.
And that's what makes it, you can just ride it over and over and over again.
It is still intense, though.
It's intense, that's
Most
for
of
sure.
the strongest G-forces on that ride is found at the bottom of the first drop and give or take around that first turnaround. And then after that, it's like, I guess driving on a motorcycle, I guess is the best way I could put it. I don't know. Fast speeds, low to the ground.
It's also a beautiful roller coaster. And it's just lovely. And when you used to be able to go back into, what did they call it? Frontier Island? Is that?
It's like Forbidden Frontier. I don't know.
Whatever. That
something like that.
Place back there.
Yes.
That you could walk around back there and you could walk around the base of that roller coaster. That was incredible.
Yeah, that was some of my funnest times there at Cedar Point. Yeah, my fun times there at Cedar Point was just walking through that area, not to enjoy the Forbidden Frontier, but to shoot video of Millennium Force, because it's so cool how close you could get to it. And what's neat about it, it's like you on the ride, you don't even really know that they're there because it's all kind of hidden in the trees. But
exactly,
that's all going away.
So I'm really hoping that Cedar Point does something with that plot of land here very, very, very soon.
So
because I want to be able to walk back there.
Yeah, we'll see
again.
All right, so we're down to the top 2, and I think we're just going to both say our top 2. I have a feeling that it's going to be the same. Maybe not. I don't know. My top 2 is number 2 is Top Thrill 2.
Me too.
And number 1 is Steel Vengeance.
Me too.
I think we've always been decided on that, especially. We've only had 1 ride on Top Thrill 2. That could change.
It was amazing, though.
I was very impressed with that roller coaster. The launch, though it's not the powerhouse that Top Thrill Dragster was, still a solid experience.
Well,
very
it's not-
intimidating
okay.
how you just keep building up that momentum.
Yes, exactly. The first launch isn't the first launch from Top Thrill 2.
No.
Right? It's not that giant
But it has
punch.
it still has a little kick to it.
But you do get that kick the second, like once you go back up the spike and you come back down, you do get that kick, and then you're going, and you do get that
and you
punch.
have that feeling. I mean, you're traveling almost 120 miles an hour down that launch, like the whole entire way. As versus on Top Thrill Dragster, you hit that max speed just before leaving the launch and then heading straight up into that vertical tower. So different, completely different experience.
It's totally different experience because you
mostly same track, different experience.
You were going that top speed for such a short period of time, whereas Top Thrill 2, you hit that top speed as you're coming down off the spike, and then you're feeling it kick, and you're feeling that punch, and you feel like you're just driving for a long time before you hit to go up the top half.
Yeah, and the vertical spike, I feel like not many talk about it. It's cool to look at. It's just aesthetically cool.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, but riding it, it's not like Airtime City, but it is just, I guess you could say, zero gravity. So you are floating there in your cities, floating in your seat. So it is. I guess it is Airtime City, but it's not intense. It's just cool.
Not,
It's a unique experience because how high you're going up in the air. Like,
it's intense to look at from the ground.
It's very intimidating for sure.
Oh my gosh, to look at it from the ground. I mean, we were there this summer when they were building it, and they hadn't even built the full spike. We were only, we saw like half of it, and it was like, wow, this is scary to look at, and it's not even complete yet. And then obviously being there and actually seeing it and riding it, I mean, that is terrifying to look at. But you can get really close to the spike, whereas you can't get, you can still get pretty close to the top hat, but I feel like you can get closer. You have a better view of the spike because you can see it from multiple angles. Whereas to get the other angle of the top hat, you'd have to be in that forbidden island place.
Well, you can get closer. When they had that what was it, like that?
The riverboat ride?
Yeah, the riverboat ride.
Is that still open?
No, I believe they shut that ride down. So next to it, there was a little pathway that you could stand on the opposite end of the top hat and look straight up, so you could see like the 270-degree downward spiral. It was closed. That section was closed off when we were there during the Top Thrill 2 preview. Not the media event, but the preview event.
Yeah.
And
preview.
We didn't really walk over there once the ride was closed the rest of the year. So I don't know if that space is available, but we'll see this coming year. I don't know. Eventually they'll probably put something over there and you'll be able to walk back.
I mean, it only makes sense to walk over and look at it if the train is actually going.
Yeah.
The roller coaster is running.
So yeah, to me, it's just a solid experience. But then Steel Vengeance continues to be the number one in that park.
It remains the king.
For obvious reasons. It's just, if you like airtime, you're going to love Steel Vengeance. That's all that ride is. They say it has over like 25 seconds of airtime. And it's one of those weird stats that you can legitimately say, like, yeah, I definitely believe it, because that ride is just airtime hill, airtime hill, airtime hill.
It's amazing.
It's fun. Yeah, and especially even, not only is it fun like that, but how you weave through the structure for the final third of the ride.
That's my favorite part of the ride.
That just, it takes it to a whole nother level, I guess you could say.
I feel like a lot of roller coasters you get through the first half or the first 2/3 of the coaster, and then the final little bit is just kind of meh, like, nothing to write home about. But I love the ending of Steel Vengeance. I love how it dives into itself and then it winds all around and you have no idea where you are. You just know that, don't put your hands up because you're going to hit the track. You're not. But, like, that's the feeling you get, and I love it.
Yeah, and Steel Vengeance is not without its problems, though. I know the ride has some problematic issues when it comes to maintenance, but the restraints seat is a little bit, I wouldn't say uncomfortable, but it kind of is, especially with the shin guards, and especially there at the very end of the ride where you do like those really sharp bunny hills before hitting into the brake run. Those really, like, you're just slamming into your thighs and your shins or whatnot. So it can be somewhat painful, but to me, the rest of the ride makes up for it. It's but it does, I'm not going to say it's the perfect coaster, but it's clearly one of the best roller coasters in the world, continues to be. I think I continue to have it ranked in my top 5 because it's just a solid, fun roller coaster, a very long roller coaster. So it just checks all the boxes. Right. It has the speed, it has the airtime, it has the intensity, it has a decent ride time, a very long ride time, I guess you could say.
Yeah, and I mean, okay, so yes, both the top 2 roller coasters that we have on our lists have problems.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Top 2 was not open pretty much at all last year. Fingers crossed it opens this year.
And I'll say this about Top Thrill 2 and Steel Vengeance. So what's nice about Top Thrill 2 with the change is because before Top Thrill Dragster was great, but it was like a 15-second experience. You would wait 2 hours for 15 seconds. Now you get a little bit longer of an experience, so it feels a little bit, I feel like it's more worth it waiting that time. And that's what I'll say about Steel Vengeance. That line is usually consistently pretty long, but you know you're getting good value for your time because you're going to get this longer ride experience that you're not going to be like, oh, that was it, it's done. So yeah, that's why solid roller coaster.
I mean, not to say that I haven't had issues getting on Steel Vengeance. So we have small children and we always parent swap and the
ride likes to break down every time you do the parent swap and you walk up into the station.
So many times I have been gypped my ride on Steel Vengeance.
Which is why I say problematic. That coaster just, for reasons I really can't explain, I feel like it has more issues than it should.
I was going to say, and last year when we were there, I knew that you were really close to getting on the ride because I could see that your phone was in the locker. So I knew, because you were texting me, and the ride went down. I knew you were really close to be getting on, but you hadn't gotten on yet. We could watch
I was just standing right outside of the station.
Yeah, we could see maintenance going up. They put a train on. They took a train off. Like, it was just this game. It seemed to be like they were playing, and then finally it all came back up magically. I don't know. But it added like an extra 20, 25 minutes to your wait, which should have been fairly short that day.
So that is our ranking of the roller coasters at Cedar Point. I'll be curious to hear how you have your ranking, because obviously I know that maybe some of these we ranked too low for you, especially like Magnum XL200. And there's also a lot of really big fans of Raptor and Gemini, actually. Gemini, I think, we didn't really talk about some of them. Oh, before I really wrap this up, I do had one other final question I was going to bring up. So Siren's Curse is on its way.
Right.
The question is, where do we think it's going to fall in this lineup of roller coasters?
It's really hard to say. Top 10, yes.
You're going to put in okay, that's pretty vague.
That's pretty vague.
I think it's going to be an easy top 10. The question is, do you think it'll make it into your top 5?
Does it crack the top 5? Oh.
Which means it's going to push one of those coasters out.
Which means if it cracks the top 5, it pushes Maverick out, which I know that would be tough. I don't know. I think Siren's Curse is going to be such a new experience, right?
Yes, I know.
Obviously, it's going to be totally different with the tilt track, okay?
Correct.
It's a dive coaster, but
it's essentially like a dive coaster in a way, yeah, because it's that vertical experience.
Watching it like just tilt and then connect and then drop, that will be a totally new experience just to watch it.
The rest of the layout, though, I feel is more in line to like Maverick, because it looks to be very fast-paced, low to the ground, some snappy inversions. Well, really inversions-wise, I think it just does 2 zero-G rolls. But the layout looks to be solid. So for me, I feel like it's possibly definitely top 5 worthy.
What does it knock out for your top 5?
Well, for me, it would knock out Valraven, because I had Valraven in the 5th slot. So do I think it's going to be better than Valraven? Yes. So I think it makes it in the top 5. The question is, how high could it go? If it ends up being, I think it really comes down to the vest restraints, because this one will have vest restraints, not just a lap bar. But I think there's no seatbelt, so it should be pretty quick, I guess, loading and unloading process. If that really inhibits the airtime experience, it might knock it down a little bit, but probably keep it in the top 5. But if the ride is butter smooth, those elements look as solid as we see in the video, I think it could easily, it's potential that it could etch its way above Maverick. As you said, you had in the top 5 to bump it out. It's possible, for sure. But again, we really won't know for at least a year after riding it, because every new coaster has like that I call the new coaster smell or whatever,
New car smell, yeah.
Yeah, you're just excited. Oh yeah, it's the best coaster ever. I kind of said that too after Steel Curtain at Kennywood, and I realized after a little bit I was like, no, Phantom's Revenge is still better. So I guess I could say about this. So we don't really know, but I definitely think it's going to sit there in a decent, most likely top 5.
I was going to say, all signs point to it being incredible, right? Yeah. I mean, it looks like it should be incredible.
Yeah,
the problem is there's some really incredible roller coasters at Cedar Point.
Correct.
And it's up against, put it at any other park, right? And it's easily top 3.
Yeah, and the biggest thing is the tilt track. Will it be reliable or not? We don't know. If it turns out to be reliable, I think that's going to be a game changer there too. Well, but if it ends up being very problematic and keeps breaking down... Yeah, I think a lot of us will kind of be like, we'll get on it once or twice and we'll be like, yeah, I'm going to go ride something else. Yeah.
We're going to go ride Steel Vengeance. See ya.
So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If there's another theme park you want us to rank their coasters, do our little comparison showdown, tell us in the comments. Until next time, this is Extreme Thrills.